Thank you so much, Ken. And I am so excited to be here. Actually, I feel like I am still a learner in our work in simulations, and I look forward to learning from you today as we experience the simulation that we created. So as Ken said, I have worked with principals for a good 30 years as deputy superintendent in school district in Texas, and for 20 years in supporting principals through Learning Forward, and have had wonderful opportunities to work with Fred Brown to partner on facilitation of learning for principals and to try to find effective learning designs that engage principals in their own learning. And this simulation is one of the most exciting tools that I've had the opportunity to work with. So I want to thank Ken for both inviting me to be here today, and secondly, for partnering with us in the work. So I want you to lead with the excitement about simulations and be eager to maybe explore other opportunities and ways. I use many simulations that Ken had produced through school sims, and some of them were from universities and some of them from school districts that were used in their programs to help strengthen what people are learning in authentic ways. So I'm going to talk just a few minutes about equity itself, and all of you are experienced and knowledgeable about that. And secondly, about professional learning for principals. And then, as Ken said, we're going to experience the sim and let you play with the whole concept of making decisions through a process of simulation. So this picture on the left is very familiar to us. I don't know why it's always bothered me, but it was actually through the simulation that I began to realize what bothers me about it. We want to help students see well, but we scaffold them to look over the fence and that picture. And really if you look at Learning Forward standards for professional learning, there are 3 standards that actually focus on equity practices, equity drivers, and equity foundations. And all of them lead to this concept of both adults and students in the game, valued, cared for, contributing their gifts, and being a part of the whole learning community that exists in a school community. And so as Fred and I have worked together, we've been working on what are the ways that principals learn from each other. And maybe not in your world, but the world I come from, principals are still very isolated. They may be in groups, but they're often attending meetings, and their job is to figure out as a group how to implement something someone else is sending to them. What we know is that is not really helpful many times to the issues that school principals are facing. And so we are learning that by engaging principals in authentic communities of practice or communities of learners in which they focus on their own issues in their school, using their own data about their staff's learning and about their students' performance, that problem of practice becomes intriguing to them and holds their attention. And through that, they're willing to try and experiment with what we know from the research and what we know from our standards. So as we were creating our sim, we thought, number one, how do principals use the standards for professional learning to design the learning for themselves as a learning community and for their faculty? And how do they build a climate that fosters and facilitates learning for all? So we also grounded our work on from the work by Grissom on how principals affects students in schools. And we really want to be sure that our sim helps them explore those when they're making decisions. And so that simulation is a very robust learning design